Okay. I'm Tom Paquin. I'm from OnLive, and I'm going to try to make a plea for what I think should be or could be going on in a world that has real cloud gaming. And because I'm from OnLive, and of course I come from that perspective, there's going to be a whole lot of what we do and how I'd like you to make use of that. And please try to believe me when I say I'm not here to pitch OnLive or try to market OnLive to you. Temper everything I say with a dose of apply this to any cloud gaming if you believe in cloud gaming. If you don't believe in cloud gaming at all, I would love to be able to prove you wrong, but I'm not going to do that today. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I was told that not everybody here knows what OnLive is. I guess that's probably wrong. Games in the cloud, no apologies for what the games are. We expect cloud to be able to provide Twitch response, instant response, full HD games over the wire. We are doing games. That's what the company is offering, but it doesn't have to be games. An app is an app. Video out is video out. We just like to think of OnLive as a KVM extension over a public internet. This is the basic model of how it works. At the player's position, you send input events up. We don't really care what they are. Mouse clicks, keyboard strokes, joystick shoves. It doesn't really matter. It's an input event. We send it up just like a wire would. And then the game plays in the cloud on an arbitrarily high-end server. Depends what the game needs. And then video is compressed very, very quickly and sent down the internet to some kind of device. So we've got apps that run on PCs and Macs. It's basically a video and audio player is all it really is. And it can run on phones and tablets and God knows what. The two tricks there are low latency video encoding and deal with imperfect networks. When we announced in '09, everybody said, "Nah, right, sure, this is exactly why it will never, ever, 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 ever work." I'm sure you read all that stuff. We shipped in 2010 in the US, and a fair number of people said, "Hey, it works pretty good." A lot of people said, "Well, it doesn't work for me," and yep, that's true. But enough people said it works great that at least it wasn't impossible. We came to the UK about a month and a half ago, and we had a much larger than expected response. The Brits seemed to be a little past the doubtful hump that the Americans were in. So far we're doing very well in the UK. I don't know why the slide is here. It's a heat map of where we are, but the wacky thing is we need our servers to be within about 1,000 miles of users for shooter-like response. We've got people playing, probably hitting California servers from Tokyo. Obviously we have we have a reasonable number of users in Moscow. I don't know if you can see from where you are, but there's people calling in from Rio. It's kind of crazy. You can't really play a shooter from Tokyo to California, but you can drive a car or fly a plane, those kinds of things. To a shooter, you got to be nearby. Anyway, lots and lots of experience with lots and lots of different kind of networks and the things that go wrong in trying to get packets to you very, very quickly without the ability to do things like, oh, I didn't get that packet, resend it. You can't do that in real-time video. So one of the things we had to build, and you'll see in a minute why I'm blathering about this, is an operating system that covers lots of different kinds of hosts in the sky and does all this Twitch response stuff. So what we want is games that say, okay, I need to play. I need resources, just like a regular app would say, I need memory, or I need a file or a file system, or I need access to a USB device. We want our games to just say, I need to process all this data. You figure it out. Get me CPUs, get me GPUs, deal with it. I need a face. I need it at this resolution. We do that, and our OS runs on a pile of servers, some of which are running Windows, some of which are running various flavors of Unix, some of which are running other operating systems. And this pile of OS takes games and the environment that games run in, including debuggers and monitors and things that the game developers care about, and immunizes the apps from the fact that there's a bucket of machinery going on underneath. I'm going to try to explain that. This is our UI coming into a game. You click. You may have just passed off to a different computer. Pick your game. Pick what you want to do. It says, I want to play this game. We find a computer to play the game. Pass you off. You're in playing.
How can I help you, Francis?
Sorry about the audio.
You know why I'm contacting you.
This is short.
The transmission that's making a mockery of your security efforts?
Okay. The point is, if a network weenie was watching this session, he'd be seeing, gosh, every couple of seconds, every time a guy does something, the IP address that he's talking to is changing. But the app doesn't know that. The game doesn't know that. All it does is say, I need to do things, and our OS handles it for you. I mean, very, very few people who write applications worry about how the memory manager works on my iPhone. You just get your memory and go. So we aim to deliver an OS with enough function that game developers can make use of a big, giant, powerful cloud resource and deliver their games to screens not caring where and how those screens are. I've talked about most of those bullets, but one of the things to bear in mind is that when you're doing a SaaS model for any kind of software, it's different from shrink wrap. The support model is different. The kinds of things the company that built the game has to worry about is very, very different. You have a lot more real-time effects when your software is a service. I'll get into it. I'm not trying to pitch OnLive. I don't know if it sounds like I am or not. For any cloud gaming universe, the bits never leave the computers. The computers are in the data center. All that goes over the wire is the output of the game. So no models, no data, no processing logic ever goes to the user's computers. There's nothing to pirate. He could take videos of the output of his game, but there's video and output. A secondary thing that people kind of get the no second sales, and we all know publishers don't make money from the second sales. They get the no second sales and no piracy thing, but they tend to skip over. We've encountered people who have really, really valuable data models that they want to make use of, but they don't know how to make use of them because as soon as they put them on a shiny silver disk and distribute it, or on a download and distribute it, it's kind of out of the barn and they don't really know how to monetize it. We've got some fairly interesting conversations about things you could do if you had carte blanche to distribute your very valuable models without risk of piracy. Very little real attention being, well, attention's the wrong word, little use being made of development, prototyping, and QA models. But in a cloud-based system, your developers can watch your users in real time. You can watch your beta testers. You can watch people die on level 95 when they can't kill the red dragon. You can change it in real time. You can have your QA people observe the people who are testing it, whether the guys who are testing it care or not. Well, they can turn it off in a public environment, but in a development environment, you just tell them you can't turn it off. We TiVo everything when you're playing, so when you hit a brag clip button, you guys know what brag clips are? In the OnLive world, anytime you do something cool, you mash a button, and the last 10 seconds of whatever you did gets saved as a brag clip, and then you post it on Facebook and show it to your friends, and we have this enormous wall of brag clips. It's very popular. If in development, if a game crashes or if a game has a real problem, we've still always got this buffer of recorded video going on. So one of the things that's kind of useful is when a game dumps core in our environment, not only do you get a big core file and all that stuff that you would normally give to your developer to say, figure out what went wrong here, you also get the 30 seconds of video that led up to whatever it was that happened. It's kind of useful. We think, and it's not up to us, it's up to you all, but we think that the opportunities for changing the release models, changing the way people go out and dump a ton of money and time into a game and then ship it can change. We think that you can take more baby steps, do episodic releases, do trial releases, and have them modify with time, but it's not really for us to say. We think, and I think you guys are smarter than we are on this too, that there's all kinds of pay-as-you something models that we would like to see invented. We're a bunch of OSE type engineers. We get this all wrong, but we're hopeful. Anyway, we have a couple of social things in our environment. We have voice chat. I guess everybody has voice chat. We have brag clips. Brag clips turned out to be popular. And we have a thing called spectating. So when you go into a game, if you go into Shoot 'em Up 5, you can decide to watch people who are playing Shoot 'em Up 5. Now, some people watch in order to learn. Some people to watch as entertainment. Some people watch in order to kibitz. They want to say, hey, give me a bar of gold and I'll tell you how to get around the blue dragon on level 45. I see you're on level 45 and you're going to have trouble. And you can shut him up. But we were pretty astonished by the amount of time people spend watching. It's huge. A lot of people who have spent the last 10 years blowing up people are now sitting down and spending hours watching other people blow up other people. It's quite shocking. Now, we're a little thin on service-provided social features, but the infrastructure is there for the games to make use of it as well. We don't know, the two question marks, this is my brilliant graphics. The two question marks, we have no clue what the next social environment is going to be. But when all your people are in a coherent environment, it's really up to your creativity. In '94, I was part of a small group of people that started this company that turned into Netscape, and we were all hot and bothered about taking Tim Berners-Lee's idea and bringing it to the masses and making the web a big thing. And we had a couple of pretty good ideas. I think we envisioned things like Travelocity and lots of interactive forms and data stuff. But we had a couple of marketing guys. If anybody can imagine the world before the web, our marketing guys ran around and asked that question. And I'm telling you, everybody went news, weather, sports. News, weather, sports, stocks, and occasionally, of course, I'll go ahead and say it, news, weather, sports, porn. But nobody said, oh, could I have the world's biggest bookstore, please? Nobody. Nobody asked for a giant garage sale. Nobody asked for, I'd like to send 140 text messages. That's what I really want to do. The weenies that came up with an easy-to-use web, and of course we were standing on the shoulders of giants, did not come up with what made the web successful, which is a much bigger list than this, but this was easy to put up. You guys all know this is true. The cool stuff that came out of the web did not come from the guys who wrote IE or the guys who wrote Mosaic or Navigator. And I think, again, whether it's OnLive or not, that can happen in cloud gaming. So, weird things if you haven't thought about it already. When you put your app in a system that's like OnLive, all your users are on a LAN, a big honkin' fat LAN with no latency between each other. I don't know what you can do with that. I think you can do things with that. They've got arbitrarily large resources. I don't know how you're going to pay for it. You've got to figure that out. But if you want every user to have 30 cores and 2 terabytes of data and a 10 gig connection to the real world, knock yourselves out. That's very deliverable. That knocks off a whole bunch of bullets. The fat pipes are not only to each other, because of the nature of our business, we also have a lot of really fat pipes to the internet and to, under oceans and things like that. Our connectivity is fantastic. So any game who says, gee, I think it would be useful if I could get some bits from here to there, boy, console at home, with an ADSL link, it's just night and day. You have constant latency, you have, essentially local pipes, and I don't really know. You should hear us chat. We come up with all kinds of wacky things that we think you can do with this stuff. I'm not sure what my slide order is here. Okay, this is, I was going to ask, how much is real, how much is CG?
Details, Captain. Tell me everything about him.
Faces and games suck.
This will help you. Remember.
Okay, that's not a movie. That's a real-time game running. It's a hack of Arkham Asylum with a lot more polygons on the face than we normally see in most environments. I think, I don't know if you guys have better plans than something like us to solve this problem, but we're not real happy with faces in games. We're not happy with a lot of the ability of games to get past the uncanny valley and into realistic graphics. We'd like to have I'm a Mega Mongo Game Corp to have a library of objects and faces they can share across their games at whatever resolution they think is necessary to make it look good, and just knock themselves out with it. It's way deliverable today. So I do think that y'all are, the game creating world is insanely better at this than people like I am. A lot of the chat in a company like ours has to do with, well, I wish I was playing a game where I had to create a flash mob in Palo Alto to go move those orange cones some evil other game team put in the street because I need a real guy to drive a car, and then I'm going to put my virtual bombs and blow them up, and then they're going to blow up, but he's not going to die. And I'm going to say, oh crap, that guy's a real human, and that guy's an avatar, and I got it all wrong. And we're hopeless. We're really terrible at it. We can't come up with a coherent game. We had a very complex capture the flag game. We have to run out in the real world and get a box, but some guy in the virtual world is pushing buttons on the box. So it's not this box you want anymore, and you got to be in touch with this world and that world, and you've got cameras and traffic sensors and weather, and we're horrible. I would like to believe that the really creative people in some of these game companies could create a game that could only run in one of these big cloud-like environments and knock our socks off and just you can't get enough of it. I think that can happen. I think it can happen in the next couple of years. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. There are some people who are pretty clever at coming up with real-time, on-the-spot, last-minute marketing based on either actual real-world events, based on behavior in the game, based on what the player is doing, the number of people who are doing something in a game, all kinds of factors. Having technicians sit there, watch, and change the nature of the game as people are doing things in order to figure out how to monetize. It's a lot of talk right now. Most of the games in our service are ports of existing PC games. I'm sure you guys probably know that. But I guess the whole point, if I could say, I didn't have to stretch my 10 minutes into 20 minutes. If I had one thing to say, it's the last bullet. It's not a bullet. It's kind of like the Netscape model. The coolest things that come from cloud gaming, erase the OnLive word, put cloud gaming. The coolest things that will not come from us or people like us. I don't care how many people come up with a cooler gaming platform than we do. I'd like to believe we're going to do it, but whatever. The cool things are going to come from people who I've never heard of, I've never thought of, who are going to come up with ideas that I couldn't even dream of, and make the entire gaming industry go in places that currently I haven't thought of. Now, hopefully, 4 of you have got killer ideas and you can't wait to get home and do it. But I would like the best minds in this space to be thinking this way. And I know you didn't come here for what I want you to do, but that's my message anyway. And that is my talk. Thank you.